Um, I would like to know first and foremost if I could briefly be introduced to what the project is about, and then how I could get started. I was learning with Blossom Academy, but due to some reasons, I had to drop out. And so I know of Excel and I know of Power BI. I do know Python, but it's not really strong yet because I really haven't used it for anything since I learned it. And I do know some things in SQL. Also, I've not used it, so I'm not really strong at it. So I would appreciate if I'm briefed and how I can get started, and if anybody could be assigned to me so that I could work hand in hand with the person and get up to date before the next meeting. Thank you very much.
Samuel, Samuel, I think what we best do is that take her to the project, the problem statement. She will have access to recordings to start, like to go back to. And then one thing we'll be doing from, that's what I was thinking is from Thursday so that we can do some groupings as well, like group them, like put people into groups. People should sign up to be in groups, all right? Then we could solve the problem. So I just introduce the problem to her. Then we take questions. Then we jump to the Power BI. Let's work more on Power Query and stuff, all right? I'll give you some updates moving forward. So that is the sum. Over to you then.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Lois. And since you're not alone, someone Ajiofusu says is facing the same issue too. So let's give you guys a brief background on the project. One sec, let me share my screen. Kindly let me know when my screen is visible, please. Can you guys confirm if my screen is sharing, please?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
All right, thank you. So I'm sure since today is your first time, you may not have the link to the Google Drive, and that will be shared with you before the call ends. But this is the Google Drive folder holding the details for the project. So the PDF file in the folder will provide you the business background. So more or less, it's an insurance company in Ghana, and then they provide health insurance to companies, right? And they are facing the issue of high claims, right? A high number of claims, and then the amounts that those claims come with as well. So that's more or less the problem statement. And then the business has some assumptions already, right? For example, they believe that higher BMI values may present higher medical risk. They also believe that smokers are more likely to make claims than non-smokers. The business has objectives. Like they want to optimize their premium pricing. And then there are some key business questions as well. But most of these are related to the the issue of the company losing money through high claims. So what they want you to do as an analyst is to tell them exactly what is going on, like what is the data looking like. Right? They know they are bleeding, but they don't know exactly where they are bleeding. So you as the analyst will tell them where they are bleeding. And then if your analysis permits you, tell them how to stop the bleeding. Now, for data scientists, you take it a step further, and then you would build a data model that would allow the company to assess the risk worthiness of, let's say, a new company they are going to onboard, right? So what they have, the employees they have already onboarded have, like, I mean, already be onboarded, but let's say they are going to onboard a new company. They need a model that will tell them that, okay, this person has a higher chance of making a claim, let's say in 3 months, in 6 months, or in 1 year. So in that case, let's charge this person higher, right? That is what the data scientists will do. So this file will give you that information. All right. So when it's, I think Kwame has shared the link in the chat. So please make sure you go through and then read every statement over here to get the background of the project. Then you will see the company insurance abbreviated data file. That is a Google sheet, right? And it has multiple sheets. Each sheet represents a table in the data that we are working with. So this is from here you have to check the recording because we did some data assessment. We like pointed out a couple of issues. Then we went to Python to make those changes over there. All right, so you can stay on the call, just observe what's going on with SQL and then with Power BI. Then later, maybe on your own time, you just go back to the recording and then start from scratch. Okay. So that's just the brief background on the projects we are working with. And we are trying to build this. Yeah, this is the pipeline that we are using. This is the pipeline, right? So the data is more or less an Excel file. We are going to use Python to extract the data, transform it, and then load it into Google BigQuery, which is our data warehouse. Then from Google BigQuery, you are going to consume the data. There will be two forms of consumption. One will be for analytics and business intelligence. We use SQL for analytics, and we'll be using Power BI for the business intelligence session. Then from there, the data scientists would use the same data to train their machine learning models. And then they have the option of deploying their machine learning models to Streamlit to be able to like make use of them. So this is the pipeline. And then for the first two sessions, we were able to extract the data, load it, transform it, and then load it into Google BigQuery. The last session, we did some SQL, and then we gave you guys the challenge of writing SQL queries to answer some of the business questions, and then to verify the risk assumptions of the company. All right. So today, if you guys have any SQL questions or any ETL questions for us, we would address them. But if not, we would move on to the next phase of the project, which is Power BI. Yeah. So Lois and some more Jay Ofosu, I'll give you guys a couple of seconds. If you have any question about the brief overview, please let me know now.
So the cleaning will be done with Python, nothing with regards to cleaning in Excel or nothing like that.
Yeah, we did the cleaning in Python, but one thing we've been saying since the beginning of the project is that um you can personalize it, right? This is what we are using, right? But you can personalize it. Maybe the industry that you are aiming for, maybe they prefer to work in Excel. There's no need for Python there, right? So this would be an overkill. So you would prefer Excel. You are free to do that, right? But we used Python for the data cleaning.
All right, all right. So you said you shared a link with the videos and everything in the group, right? I can just click it.
Yeah, I can see the link in the chat, so yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Oh, okay. So just like I mentioned last week, we did a lot of SQL, like 4 or 5 queries. We didn't want to answer all the business questions for you. We are giving you room to explore, make mistakes, and then correct them and get better. But we did explore a couple of SQL queries. One second. We did explore some of them. For example, we try to verify this risk assumption, whether smokers generate more expensive health claims. We also try to verify whether older employees require more medical attention. And then we skipped the other three. That's up to you guys as a challenge. Then we moved on to the key business questions. Then we looked at which corporate organizations generate the highest financial exposure for the company, right? Then uh, I recommended or I encouraged you guys to answer all these business questions and then use AI to generate more questions, right? You can come up with the questions yourself. If you are familiar with the process, you can look at the data, you can tell the company's pain points, and then the questions that they are not asking, but you know as an analyst that they would want the answer to. But if not, you can just tell Claude or ChatGPT the kind of data you are working with, give it enough context, and then it would provide you with other business questions. And one of those business questions was like a trend. What's the trend for claim amount month on month? So we tried to write the query for that. And I think, yeah, this is what we had as of last week. But when we ran it, when we ran it, we realized that it wasn't working as expected. So I gave you guys the challenge of like trying to understand what is wrong, because ideally the first month should not have it should have a null value for previous month amount. There's no previous month before the first month. So I'll give maybe like 30 seconds if somebody was able to figure out why this query didn't work the other time, then they can share the reason with us. So anyone? All right, Emmanuel, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I think it didn't work because in the lang function we were ordering by one. And
Sorry,
I
I
think
don't know if it's just me, but your voice sounds very far.
is it okay? Is it better now?
Yeah, it's much better.
Okay. So I was saying in the lang function we were ordering by one, which is the first column, but we have to change it to month. So I did change it to month, and I think it worked for me. So you can try that and let's see.
Yeah, you're right. That is what we're missing. Yeah. So I explained that in the previous session, for some SQL engines, you're able to use like a digit to specify the column that you want to reference. So you see in this subquery over here, in this query, we have date trunk, claim date, month, and then this over here is our first more or less column, and then this is our second column. Now we want to group by this, right? So instead of copying and pasting the whole thing over here, some SQL engines allow us to use numbers to just reference them. So one will reference this operation over here, right? So I think we got used to the chip side, and then we try to replicate the same thing over here. But the thing is that the lag function or the Windows function does not know that one here is referring to the first column that was used in the select statement. It treats it as literal one. So more or less, it will order the data the same way it came. That's how come we are having issues. You see that 2025 May is showing now over here because it's treating this as the first month. Okay, so to correct that, we just change one back to month. You can run the query, and then it works as expected. So you can confirm. So for February, the previous month amount is that of January's, is that of January, and January doesn't have any amount. Okay, so this is it. This is what the lag function allows us to do. So you can take it further as the analyst. You can compute it as a percentage, right? Because most people will not be able to look at the numbers and then tell what is going on. But once they're able to see some negative or positive percentages, then they can tell how the claim amount has been changing month to month since January 2024. But I like to give you guys a lot of challenges so that you can try it. If it doesn't work, you keep trying. It works, then you get better for it instead of like being told exactly how to go about it. It's not too difficult. Okay, so just another challenge to you. Try to compute the percentage of the claim amount and then the previous month amount. Now analyze it and see if there's any insight there that will be useful to the stakeholders of the insurance company you are working for. So that is it for last week. The floor is open for any TPO questions. If you try to answer any of the business questions and you're not able to get the query for it, you can unmute and then ask right now. Or if you did get a query, but maybe you don't really understand what is going on, you can also unmute and then ask right now. So I'll mute myself for a minute for if anybody has any question for us.
So please, can I ask a question, Sammy?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you. So I think last Thursday, my network wasn't so I couldn't join, but I followed through the recording. And I saw you earlier seeing the various column with the, let's say, the initials. Let's say for claim, you earlier start CL, there's a branch as B. And I want to find out if that is a standard practice. Because the little secret that I learned, I didn't see that. So initially I was kind of, but later I got a connection that you aliasing with the, let's say, the initials of the various columns. So I want to find out if you choose not to alias it with those initials, would that have any effect?
Oh, okay. Thank you, Emmanuel. And yes, we did use aliases. And to answer your last question, it wouldn't have any effect on the query. The query would still work. But just put yourself in the scenario where the company has a database and then the columns are very, very long, like column names you see. And then you have to keep referencing them. Maybe you put it in the tables have like very, very long names. So you are using the subquery. So you put the table in the front clause of the subquery, and then you come to the main query. You now have to put the same table there. Or you want to, let's say, the same column appears in two different tables. So you need to tell SQL which exact column you are referring to. So you need to precede that with the name of the table. It means if the table has like 5 names, you're going to write all those 5 names dot before your column name. You see, it becomes very tedious and it becomes less readable. What the alias allows us to do is it allows you to keep your query very readable. So if you have a very long column name, maybe insurance underscore premiums, instead of writing insurance underscore premiums everywhere, you reference it with IP. Now, anytime you want to select a column from insurance underscore premiums, all you do is IP dot IP dot IP dot. So you can see it becomes more readable than using insurance underscore premiums dot insurance underscore premiums dot. So that's the reason why we used the alias. But if you do not want to use the alias, it would work. Your query would still work fine.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions, please?
Guys, speak now or forever hold your peace. You have a question. Please, that.
Sorry, did someone say anything?
No, I was just encouraging them to ask their question.
Okay, I'll assume there are no questions for us at this point. But if you do have any question, you can put it in the chat. When I'm notified, I'll respond to it. So yeah. So we'll be moving to Power BI today, and that doesn't mean that you should stop writing your SQL query. There are still lots of business questions here that we haven't answered yet. So you have to write the SQL queries to answer them, right? And this is the form in which most business questions come in the real world. Okay, so I'll encourage all of you again to not leave them out because we've moved on from SQL to Power BI, but try to write the queries to answer them. Some may not be answerable in SQL, so then you wait for Power BI or you use Python, but try to use SQL to answer them. And if you run into any issues, you can reach out to any of us, myself, Black, Vanessa, and then Kwame, and there's also Holly and Abdul. We are here to help. So, yeah. Okay. So if you've been with us from the start, or if you just joined us today, just from the background I gave earlier, you can tell that we've done a lot of work in terms of extracting the data, transforming it, and then loading it into Google BigQuery, and then also writing SQL queries to explore that data. But all of that happens in the background, right? Maybe somebody who is well versed with data, a data analyst, a data scientist, or a data engineer, would know the work that you have done in the background. But for stakeholders, especially non-technical stakeholders, they do not know, and neither do they care about what you have done in the back. All they care about is what they see on the dashboard. So the importance of your Power BI dashboard cannot be overstated, right? You can spend weeks or months cleaning your data, writing your SQL queries, doing your analysis, and then you can have the best insights. But if your dashboard is not appealing to stakeholders, trust me, the weeks or months or years of work that you have committed will go unnoticed. Okay, so over here, we'll try to create a dashboard that will be appealing to our stakeholders, and yeah. Currently, we do not have any data. So the first thing we would need to do is to get data. So just click get data over here. Then you can search for Google BigQuery, or just Google BigQuery will come up. Then you click on connect. Now you will get this interface, right? But everything here is optional, right? So you can just click on OK. Then you get the prompt to sign in. All right, so I'm going to click on sign in. I already have my email signed in, so I'll just click on that over here. And I'm going to give Power BI the permission to access my Google account. The sign-in is complete, so I'll come back to Power BI, then I'll connect to my BigQuery environment on GCP. Right, so once it loads, it's going to display all the projects that you have. So in the first session, we created a a GCP project that we are using for this session. I'm using ALX Data Community, but you should see the projects that you created over here. It will probably be hyphenated, right? That's where your data sets will be stored. So I'm going to drop down on the projects that I have been using. Then I'll see the data sets over here. So I named it insurance underscore data set, so it's here. Then, yeah, so these are the tables that we created using SQL, and then they are present in our insurance data set. So we'll just select them. So then you can click on transform data so that these tables will show up in Power Query. Now you have the option to specify how you want to get the data into Power BI. The first option is import. So when you select import, Power BI will create a copy of your data like in Power BI. But when you select direct query, it will not create a copy in what's the name in Power BI desktop. It will have a direct connection to your SQL query. Now, if it's a personal project like this one, you can feel free to use direct query. But in the real world, you may be limited in terms of direct query because it will be a database that other people are using. You do not want Power BI to be trying to refresh, and then it will create performance issues because maybe whilst your query is running from Power BI, somebody else is also trying to access the same database, and then they are not able to because the database has assigned the query or the resources to your query. Okay, so if the data is not too large, then you can use the import option, right? So that Power BI doesn't keep hitting your database, asking for data or trying to refresh. But if the data is relatively small, then you can feel free to use direct query because it means that even if Power BI hits your database, it won't take long before it gets the response because maybe your tables are just a couple of like just some few rows. Okay. But for here, we'll be using import. But this is a personal project, so explore with both import and then direct query, and that would give you an understanding or the appreciation of both options. So yeah, we have our tables loaded in Power Query. Let me give a brief pause. I'm notorious for moving fast during sessions, so if anybody has any question as of this point, or if I've moved fast, you can just let me know, then I'll just run everything from scratch. Okay, I'll assume that everything is fine then. But before we proceed with Power Query, let me just run you through the process again. There's something you don't want to miss. So select Google BigQuery. Then advanced options. So previously we skipped this. Everything over here is optional. We skipped this, and then we just clicked on OK. So that allowed us to see all our projects. Then we're able to click on the data set that we need. Right. And the reason we are doing that, if you've been following, you realize that our tables are good. Okay. But in the real world, sometimes you would need to join some tables to get your data in a certain form before you even move to Power BI to do your analysis, right? So in that case, you specify your project ID. So my project ID is ALX-data-community. Now let's assume for the purposes of demonstration that I want this data. I want this data we have over here from the Windows function we ran earlier. So I want this data. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it over here. All right, then you're going to click OK. So instead of showing you all your projects and then your data sets and then all your tables, it's only going to show you, it's going to ask you to sign in, then it's only going to show you the result of this SQL statement. Okay, so that is another option that you have available for you when you are importing data from Google BigQuery into Power BI. All right, the rest is just similar to what we are already doing. So I'll click cancel. Okay. Now we have our data in Power Query. The first thing you want to check is the column headers, right? Sometimes when you import data into Power Query, it doesn't read the first row as the column header. So you would see column 1, column 2, column 3. So you first have to check if the column headers are exactly what you expect. Then since you've already explored the data, you know the data type of each of the columns, right? So just verify. So you know that. So we know that beneficiary ID has alphanumeric characters. So ABC is fine. Same thing for employee ID, name, relationship, then allocation percentage, right? This is a decimal, but we know that it only contains, I think, 100, right? So you can decide to change this to a whole number. Okay. Now we are only doing this because we know that the data set has only allocation percentage of 100, right? But if you know it doesn't, then there's no need for you to change it to a whole number, because then you would lose the digits after the decimal. So the same thing for branches. You go through each table and then you try to check the column headers. You check the data types as well to see if they match. Okay, so in this case, yeah, everything matches over here. Number of staff is whole number. Yeah. You do a similar thing for claim underscore workflow. Now, you can see that payout date has some nulls. That is indicated by the gray bar you see over here. So just suppose that with workflow underscore ID, that has a full green bar. It tells you that every row has a value for this column. But with payout date, you can see that there's a gray bar over here. But this is not surprising because we know that not every claim is paid. Okay, but this is just to point it out to you. So if you're working with another data inside of Power Query, and then you notice this, you need to investigate whether you are anticipating the null values or not. If you are, then it's cool. If you are not, then you need to investigate why there are null values. Because sometimes when you import the data into Power Query is not able to read the data well, so it just returns null or errors for them. So this will be an alarm for you to check what is happening. Then we'll check our claims table, the same thing, claim ID, and then the data type. Just skim through and see if everything is okay. Then companies, then covered employees, then insurance, then premium underscore payments. If you were wondering how come I had the green bars under the title, under the headers, click on view in the ribbon, then check column quality and then column distribution. Right. So that just also gives you like a quick overview of what is contained in each column, right? So the quality will tell you the percentage that is valid, the percentage that is error, and then the percentage that is empty, right? So if you see anything you're not expecting, that's a call for you to check what's wrong with your data import. Okay, so view, column distribution, and then column quality. Then you would have this over here. Power Query allows you to do a lot of things. It allows you to do data cleaning just from the ribbon over here. You can see it allows you to remove duplicates, remove blank rows, remove errors. And then it allows you to remove some columns as well, right? But we are taking this from the perspective of you are not exactly sure what the analysis is going to contain. So, and we've already done a lot of data cleaning in Python. So we will not use Power Query now. Now, it doesn't mean that we will not use Power Query throughout the project. We are going to start with the analysis. There will come a time where we hit a point where like, okay, we need to go to Power Query and then create this, create a particular column or delete a particular row or something. Then we will now come back to Power Query and then do that. The reason we are doing that is that if you fixate on getting everything ready in Power Query before you start the analysis will take longer than expected. But if you proceed with the analysis, then whenever you hit a roadblock where you need Power Query, you just go back and then fix that roadblock and come back to Power BI desktop. You will be good to go. Okay. But if you are sure of the tables and then or the columns and then the data cleaning that will be needed to get your data ready for visualization, then you can proceed to drop columns and then drop rows as needed. But we will come back to Power Query. So once we confirm that everything is done in Power Query, we are going to close and then apply. Just go down, close and apply. Whilst our tables are loading, if anybody has any question, you can take advantage of this period and then ask. Okay, our tables are downloading, so you'd have to put your questions in the chat for the meantime.
Yeah, please. I wanted to ask if is this all the tables that we have in there? Because I thought maybe you exited one. I think risk something. When you were connecting the power coil to the.
Yeah, so after doing the data cleaning, I think there were about 9 tables in all, but we decided not to upload or to create the risk score table because we are not sure what columns we will be adding to that table after building our data model, right? But just for demonstration purposes, I loaded everything. That's why I excluded it over here. So if you are following, then you would not see the risk scores as part of your tables. And if you do see it because you included it in the create table statement, then just do not include it as part of the tables you are loading. That risk score table is purposely for the data science section. When you build a data model, then you see the need to add your predictions to that table. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. Okay, so when it comes to Power BI and then creating reports, right? One approach people use is that, okay, one approach that you can use is that you can design or you can design what you want in terms of like a wireframe. That is one. It will give you a clearer pathway when you are arranging your visuals. Secondly, too, you can just focus on what's the business questions and then try to see how you can use the visuals to answer those questions. Then when you are done having those visuals all over the place, you know what you're expecting. So now you now sit down and then try to arrange them, or you can go online, look for any Power BI template or any Power BI report somebody has posted that you like the design, then you can try to emulate the same thing just with your visuals. Okay. In the previous project, Black shared how to create the wireframe in PowerPoint so that when you come to Power BI, you know where you're going to put your visuals, your KPIs and stuff. So for this project, we are going to do it the other way around. We are going to start by focusing on the business questions. We are going to create the visuals. We don't know how many visuals we are expecting. So we are going to just create those visuals to answer some of the business questions. Then when we are done and we are aware of what we have, then we are going to think about how to present it appropriately to like a non-technical or technical audience. Okay. So before we start our visualization, right, we want to take some time to go through the business problem statement. Okay. So off the top of our head, we know that the company is concerned with claims, right? Too many claims, and then the amount is high. They are wondering if the claim to premium ratio is sustainable for the company. Okay, they are wondering if smokers generate more expensive healthcare claims. They are wondering if older people require more medical attention, right? And then if you go through the business questions over here, you can see claim repeats itself a lot. So it tells you that one thing that the company is really focused on is claims. Okay, so sorry, someone unmuting. Who the was? Okay. So we'll be creating a page for claims. Now, you may want to create a home page where you have an overview of everything that is in the data. Then you create separate pages for different perspectives of your analysis. Okay, one of those perspectives would be claims. All right, so what we are going to do here is to build a page for our claims analysis. It doesn't mean that you should not build a home page. It doesn't mean that you should not build pages for your other perspectives. Just follow what we do for the claims page. Then you can try to, first of all, replicate it. Then you can modify it to suit your own like design needs. then you can create the other pages accordingly. Okay, so let's get started. As we go through this page, I'll be mentioning some design principles, and some of them I'll tell you that these are design principles, but others I may not be able to tell you. But just listen to some of these principles when you hear them. So the first principle is that as human beings, we like to read. Okay, let me just say most human beings like to read from left to right and then from top to down. Okay, so as a result, when you are building a Power BI report, you want to keep the most important information at the top, right? And the most important information have to be high level. So we call them key performance indicators. Now, in this case, you are talking about claims. The company is concerned with the number of claims and then the amount that is involved in those claims. So our KPIs are cut out for us, right? So the first KPI we want to add is the sum of claim amount Ghana cedis. Right, so you can tell the importance of this. So anybody who picks up the reports will be able to tell the total amount of claims that have been made, since 2024 January, right? So the company is like, we are losing a lot of money to claims, but exactly how much money are they losing? This will allow you to answer that question. Again, the company is like, we are having a lot of claims, but what number of claims is the company having? Right, so we need to be able to tell them that. So we'll add a second visual, and then we are going to count our claim ID. We change the operation to count distinct. So we know that the company is having 2.5K claims. Okay. Don't worry about the arrangements yet. Then another thing we would want to know is the company is focused on claim to premium ratio. It means that the company also wants to compare the amount they are making from claim, the amounts people are claiming to the premium they are collecting, right? So we want the company to know how much premium they have made within the period. That can be found over here. Okay. So that is our premium amount. Now, the company is concerned with the ratio. So we would want to create a measure that allows us to compare the claim amount to the premium amount. We'll create a measures table. When you're creating your measures table, what you want to do is you want to start the table name with an underscore so that it would always stay at the top of the list of tables. Then you can always access it. Equals, skip, then enter. Right, so we have our measures table over here. I'm going to click on the dots at the far end and then click new measure. So we'll call our measure claim to premium ratio. Now, Power BI DAX allows us to create variables to hold results. So we'll create a variable called claim amount. And then that would be the sum of our claim amount Ghana cedis column. Then we would create another variable to hold our premium amount, which would also be the sum of amount Ghana cedis from our premium table. Now, to achieve the ratio, we need to divide the claim amount by the premium amount. So we divide claim amount by our premium amount. Then we can return the ratio. Okay. So let's insert a new KPI card. Then we can add, right? So what this tells the company is that the claims you are making are 8 times the amount you are receiving for premium. So this is very useful information that the insurance company would like to know, which is why we are adding that as a KPI card. Now, as of this moment, these cards do not depend on one another, right? There's no way to check the relationship between them, purely because, I mean, they are cards. You don't need to have a relationship between them. But once we move from here, we are going to be creating tables. We are going to be creating asset tables, visuals, right, to show more granular insight. This is just a number. Maybe perhaps we want to know the premium per company. So we are going to need to create visuals for that. Now, you know that the premium payments table has the amount Ghana cedis, and then the company data, for example, is in the company's table. So you need to ensure that the right link exists between these tables before you proceed to building your visuals. So to do that, we would move to the model view section of Power BI. We would click on data model. In the previous sessions, we created an entity relationship diagram that demonstrated how the tables connect to each other. Fortunately for us, Power BI was able to infer this connection because of the descriptive column names that we used. So it knows that branch ID in the insurance table can connect to branch ID in the branches table. Branch ID from premium payments connects to branch ID in the branches table. Likewise for covered employees and as well. Now, covered employees will connect to beneficiaries through employee ID. However, it's making the wrong assumption here that employee ID in claims connects to employee ID in beneficiaries. That is not the case. It should connect rather to employee ID in covered underscore employees. So we are going to delete this relationship. You can double tap on it. Then you can yeah, so don't double tap, just put your mouse on the link, right click, and then select delete. So we know that employee ID over here should connect to the claims table here, right? So you confirm that for your first table, the column that you want to connect to is you check the second table as well. Those two columns, are they the same? Is that exactly what you want to use in the relationship connection? If they are, then you come to check the cardinality. Now, Power BI would automatically detect the cardinality, but there are options. There's many to one, there's one to one, there's one to many, and then there is many to many. Many to one and then one to many are more or less the same. It just depends on which table you are standing on. So in this case, we'll be using one to many. The reason is that each employee appears in this table, in the covered employee table, only once, right? Each employee ID has only one record. However, an employee can make many claims, right? There can be an employee that has made about 6 or 7 claims. So that employee ID would appear in the claims table those 7 or 8 times that they have made the claims, right? Which is why we are using a one-to-many relationship. over here, right? Then we would make the relationship active. That's already been selected for us. So we'll just click on save. Then, yeah, so we can now tell that claims is rightly connected to our covered employees table. Now, the next connection is claim workflow to the claims table, right? That has been created for us because claim ID is here and then claim ID is here as well. So we'll leave that. Now you can see that the company's table is isolated, right? There's been no connection to it. So there's no connection between companies and then premium payments. So it would have been impossible for you to create a visual comparing the premiums paid by each of these companies. Likewise, trying to get the claims for each of these companies because currently there's no link between the two tables. So to create that link, we know that branches have corporate ID. Now, corporate ID here connects to ID in the company's table. Okay, so we can drag corporate ID to ID. And then yeah, we just confirm that the columns that have been selected are the ones we want to use for the connection. We check the cardinality. In this case, it's many to one. Again, it's because of where we are standing from. So just for demonstration, let me cancel this. Let me drag it from ID to corporate ID. You see that it has now changed to one to many. So that tells you that one to many and many to one are more or less the same. It just depends on which table you are standing on. So in this case, we have every company appears only once, or every ID appears only once, but each company ID can have multiple associated branches, which is why we have one-to-many relationship. So it means that one corporate ID can be associated with multiple records in the branches table, which is why we are using the one-to-many cardinality. We want the relationship to be active, so we are also going to save this relationship. Okay. Now, so that is it. That is the data model. Any question for us, please?
Please, I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
My question is that you actually disconnected. You deleted the relationship between the claims and the beneficiaries table.
Yeah.
But I didn't get the explanation very well. If you can actually go back for me, I'll be very grateful. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So what Power BI does is that when you import your data into Power BI desktop, it will try to infer the relationship between the tables based on the column names. Okay. So when we imported the data, there's employee ID in the claims table, and then there's employee ID in the beneficiaries table as well. So Power BI inferred that it means that claims table can connect to beneficiaries. However, we have been through the data. We know that there's no relationship between beneficiaries and claims based on employee ID. Right, the employee ID in the claims table refers to the employee ID in the covered underscore employees table, which means that Power BI inferred wrongly. Okay, so first of all, we severed the connection between these two tables. You just right click the link and then you select delete. So after we selected delete, we now came to create a link between covered employees and claims by dragging the column name that we want to use. We drag it from the one table to the other. Okay, then that would bring you to this window where you now confirm the columns, you confirm the cardinality, and then whether you want to make the relationship active. Once you confirm all of that, you click save, and then the relationship between claims and covered employees is created. Does that answer your question, please?
Yes, please. And actually, forgive me. I was able to join the first section, but the subsequent one I'm not able to join. And also because of work, that's why I'm asking such questions. So I have a clear picture of what you are doing.
Yeah, no problem. No, we actually encourage you guys to answer questions, to ask questions. So please feel free. Any question you have at all, just either raise your hand or when the chance is given, just feel free and then ask. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have a working data model, and then we have reports view. The one in between them is the table view. So you can come here and then go through your tables. But ideally, you would have done this in Python when you were loading the data, and then also in SQL as part of your exploration. But if you still need a reminder of what values are in your tables, you just come to the table view, then you select the name of the table that you're interested in, then you would see the data in that table. Right. So when you are building your reports, every now and then you might want to come to the table view to confirm what you have. Okay. So yeah, let's make our way back to the report view. Now we have created these KPIs. It's not looking nice yet, but it shows the figures we want the company to know. We want the company to know that the high claims that they are worried about amount to 69.22 million Ghana cedis. There have been a total of 2,500 claims since, according to the data. Then the premiums they have collected from the company amount to 8.63 million. And the claim to premium ratio is 8.02. So they know that they are paying 8 times what they are receiving as premium. Off the top of our head, these are the KPIs we believe that the company will be interested in. As we build the visuals, more may come, right? When they do come, then we would add them as KPIs and then we would space everything out so that they all appear uh, clearly. Okay. Now we move on
But
to, yeah,
Sammy,
yeah, Black.
you are good. Oh, you are doing this thing for them.
The visualization.
They know these things all. Oh. They know all. They know everything.
Yeah, I want to build one page with them, then they will build the homepage and then the other pages themselves.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, we just build one page and then the rest will be up to them.
They will do themselves.
Okay,
God will come through. Oh, guys, I mean, you guys know how to do it so that he won't waste his time. Mesh,
Us.
I mean, you know how they build a dashboard. So,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
they'll say, yeah, finish the last minute. We go make what? We go make
Oh no,
what?
no. For Power BI for dashboard, I'm good at it. But for
You are good at it. I love the
yes,
feedback.
yeah. But for the SQL, I'm not that distant, so I'm still on it.
Okay. Lois, I mean, a dashboard, you can build professional dashboard.
Yes, please, I can do that.
Okay. Okay. All right, sure. All right, Charlie, continue.
oh, okay, okay. Thank you, Black. So yeah, so when we come to, so let's consider this like the first row or the first section of our report. So let's say you have a middle section over here. Now when we come to that middle section, we begin asking ourselves that these KPIs that we have put here, what insights can we offer to the users of the report on these KPIs? Okay, so this is insurance. This is the claim amount. The company is very interested in the claim amount. So let's check what the claim table has. And then there's claim date over here. So one thing as the analyst, you would know that the company would need is that they might want to see how the trend has been, like what has been the trend. Is it increasing since 2024 January? Is it decreasing? Is it growing at a steady rate? Right. So we want to put, we would want to have a visual that shows the trend. So let's add claim date. Then we would add the claim amount. Okay, now we have date hierarchy. So I'm going to take off the year, quarter, and then the day. Then I'm going to drop down again, click on date hierarchy. This time I'm only going to take off the quarter. and then the day. Let's expand this a little. Right, so now it shows with the month. So, from January 2024 to the end of our data, which is December 2025. Now, as an analyst, now you begin to see insights that you would have to prepare answers for. For example, you can see that there was a sharp decline in claim amounts in May, right? In the previous month, you see, there was 3.4 million, but May 2025 recorded the lowest claim amount. So this is something that you would have to note and then investigate what happened. Was there any intervention that reduced the claim for this particular month? All right. So as a data analyst, that's what you note it down and then you investigate it. So we have this time series visual over here. Now let's check the business questions to see if we would find something else that a company wants to know. Okay, let me ask you guys, based on the key business questions and then the key risk assumptions, and then based on your interaction with the data, what do you think is something else the company would want to know that we should put on our claims overview page of the Power BI reports? Let's make this interactive. There are no wrong answers. We are all here to learn. So anything at all that comes to mind, just either on mute or put it in the chat. We will deliberate and then we'll move on. So yeah, this is our Power BI report. We have showed them the amount they've made, the amount they've lost claims, or the claim amounts people have made, the number of those claims, the premiums they've received, and then the ratio. Now we have also showed them the trend of claim amount. What do you think is another insight that would be useful to the company that we should add as a visual to our report?
Please, can you go back to the problem statement?
Yeah. Are you interested in the business questions or the risk assumptions?
The business questions.
Okay, all right.
So I'll go with three. Which corporate organization generate the highest financial exposure for the company? So with this one, it's a suggestion. With this
Yeah,
one,
no
I think
problem.
that the companies there, you might be able to factor in the companies that expose the what the insurance company to a very high financial risk. So from the highest to the lowest, I think I'll go with that one.
Oh, okay. That is actually a very good addition. Yeah. So the company would want to know that which companies are bleeding us out. So we would use a clustered bar chart for that. And then because of our data model, we can now select company name into the y-axis and then select claim amount into our x-axis. So let's expand this a little. Then you can see that, okay, MTN Ghana is responsible for the company leaving. Okay, so I didn't get to see your name, but who unmuted and then spoke, or who suggested this? That was a very good one. Any other one for us before we continue, please? Guys, let's make this interactive. We are all analysts here, so like I said, there's no wrong answer.
I call people for you.
Yeah, I think that will help. They are too quiet.
Yes. Dennis. Hey, Dennis.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Dennis.
Actually, the question I was about to ask is what the other guy asked. But I don't know. I'm thinking of something new to say.
Okay,
Hey,
okay.
okay. I'll get you. Hi, Lois. Lloyd.
Hi, hi. I'm having issues with my phone. I'm sorry, but I'm here, please.
Yeah, no. Samuel, can you take? Oh, so aren't you hearing what is going on right now?
Hello.
Oh, hi.
So are you not able to
I've seen
follow? Is that
him
what-
making the. Oh no, no, I follow. I follow. The only thing I really didn't get was because the data has already been cleaned and worked on. I don't understand the data, but I can see that he's using the data to basically show cards and then do some data, visualize the data so that the company can see the things that the questions that they are asking, the answers to them. So for what he's doing currently, I understand, but how the data is working and the connection and the things he did in the background, I really don't get it because I don't understand the data.
Oh, that is just a matter of sitting down with the data set and perusing it.
Yes, so I
And
plan to do that tomorrow so that by the time I come back again, at least I have a clear idea of what the data is about and the things in the data to be able to understand the things that he's saying.
okay,
Thanks.
okay, cool. Yeah, were you following?
Yes, please.
Okay, so please say something.
Yeah, so I think I'll you can use
Am I the only
back.
one that can't hear Aya well?
Oh, sorry. Is it better?
A little.
Uh, okay, so I was saying that we can actually use a bar chart to also get to know the organization that exceed their premium, the claims organization generate as compared to their premium, so that we get to see a clear picture of how much they are paying and how much they are taking from the insurance. And also we can also have a kind of the difference to also see the trend as well.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you. Yeah.
You're
And
welcome.
that is also a good observation and a good addition to our report. So instead of just having the claims from each company, we want the company to know the premiums they are also receiving from each company, right? So to do that, we can, since this is a clustered bar chart, we can add new new values. So we'll go to our premiums table, and then we can drag amount Ghana cedis to the x-axis right under the sum of claim amounts over there. Now this would give us a way to compare the claim amounts from each company and then the premium. Okay, so there are some things we will need to clean up over here. We will not spend time on the cleaning yet. Once we are done with the visuals we expect for our report, we will now come and then clean up each visual. Okay, but yeah, this is also a very good addition to our reports. Anybody else?
Daniel. Hi, Daniel. Hey, Daniel just joined. Okay, hi, Martha.
Hi.
Hi, Martha. Any contribution? Daniel, you
Yeah,
have to mic next people. Martha, it's
my
very easy. Go on.
yeah, please, are you calling me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I was saying that my network keeps going on and off, but I think like where I got to before it went off was at the time series, the dates. I think I had a little bit question there, but I just joined, so I'm now looking at what he's doing. So can
Oh,
I
you
ask
have
the
a
question?
well. Oh, yeah, you can ask your question. Staff, you can ask the question, right?
Yeah, you can ask her. I mean, she can
Yes.
ask.
Then
Yeah,
afterwards,
I w-
then he contributes after Martha is done.
Yeah, I wanted to know, like, since we are using the dates, like the claim dates, so like maybe the times that the employees came for the date, that's the date we are using to do our trends. How would we know if maybe a particular month there was no claim? It means that are we going to miss those months? Or let's say maybe with the years, let's say maybe a particular year, there wasn't any claim because there wasn't any claim in that year. It's not going to show on the trend because that year was not recorded as a claim. Like no employee came to claim any amount. So that year or that particular month will not be recorded. Are we going to lose that particular thing because it will not appear on the trend? I was just thinking about it. I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's a very good observation. And then the response to that is that we are familiar with the data. We know that the data has health data for all the months. That's from January 2024 to December 2025, right? Which is why we used this approach. Now, in the event where you're working with data and you realize that there are gaps in the data, whether days, weeks, months, or years. So when you do the time, the trend, those missing points are not going to show. What you want to do is you want to create a date table. Now, to create the date table, what is this? Yeah, so this is what we need. So there's a standard for creating that date table. So let's just say you go to the modeling view, you create new table, then your dates, or you can let's call it date table equals. So you need to specify the minimum year you are working with. So we'll call that min year. Then you use a year function to extract the year from the minimum date. All right, so the minimum, so using the claim dates column, then we will need the max year as well. So the min year would hold the minimum year in our data, and the max year would hold the maximum or the highest year in our data. Then you have your return statements over here. So I'm just going to copy this and then paste it over here. Oh, I missed one step. So let's just go back one step. After creating our minimum and then our maximum year values, we'll create our calendar. So let's go with the name that AI had for us. That was calendar base. Then you use a calendar function, specify the minimum period, which is minimum year. Then you use maximum year to specify the maximum year. You can now add our return statement. So what's this? What we pasted is as intuitive, right? So this will create a year column in our table. Would create quarter numbers. So it will tell if the date is in the first quarter, second quarter, or the third quarter, right? This would do the same thing. Then we have month number and the month name. So if it's January, this will tell you 5, and this will tell you January. Then this would be short, so it would be JAN for January. And this would have the year and then the month number. So maybe 2025 space, then 05 to represent May 2025. Now this will have the year and then the month, right? So you can tell by the format over here. This will have the week number, right? So if you feel like these are too extra for your needs, then you can just clear any of them. But this is the standard way of creating the date table in Power BI. So just for the purposes of demonstration, let's assume that we do need the date table. So we create it. So when I drop down, you can see that all the columns that were listed over here appear here. You have the date, you have day of week, you have day of week number, you have day of week again, short, and then you have month name, month number, month short, quarter, and all the other columns. Now, what you want to do is you want to come to the data model, right? And you want to tell Power BI that you should be using the date in your date table. Let's move our date table over here. So you're going to drag claim underscore date to date. And then so many to one relationship because each record in the date table appears only once, right? But a date can appear multiple times or many times in the claims table, which is why it's a many to one relationship. And then it's going to be active. And then you click save. So once you do that, when you come back to this visual, instead of using claim date, you would go to your date table and then you can probably use, let's use date, then you just take off. Now we don't. Right. Okay. So I left one thing out. This needs to be wrapped in the date function, minimum year. You specify the month number and then the day number as well, and you close the brackets. So we'll do the similar thing for this, wrap it in the date function. Then the variable max year. We'll now specify the month number. But in this case, we want the end of the month of that year. So we'll use 12 and then the last day, which is 31, to represent 31st December in that year. Let's see. Oh, okay, so it's working as expected. So the difference was we didn't wrap these two variables in a date function when we were creating the calendar. Right, so yeah. Right, so we now have it. So if there's a particular month that doesn't have any data, you're going to see a sharp drop reflecting in the trend, right? You see how you have a sharp drop? It's for May, but this is because there's low, like the low value of the sum of claim amount. But if there was no data, it's going to be a sharp drop. You're going to see 0 as part of the values on the x-axis, right? So that is what your analysis would look like if there was a month or there was a period in your table without any data. Does that answer your question, please? No response. Does that answer your question, please?
Yeah, yes, please. Thank you. Sorry, my
Okay.
network.
Okay, you're welcome. So let's just go back to what we were doing. We can sever the link. Yeah, so we'll have our claim dates back. So, but I will not delete the dates table in case we have use of it later. So let's just go back to claims table. Yeah. So, Martha, do you have any visual for us that we should add to this page that would be insightful to our insurance stakeholders?
Not yet, please. Not
Okay,
yet.
okay, no pressure, no pressure. All right, so another question that the insurance company would want to know if you think about it is, okay, 69 million. What kind of claims are they making? Is it for funeral benefits? Is it for emergency? Is it for death? Is it for maternity? Right? They would want to know which claim type is allowing them to bleed like these high amounts. So we can show that to them as well. So let's first use this clustered column chart. We have claim type over here. Then we can add the claim amount to our y-axis. All right, so let's expand it a little. So yeah, so you can see how useful this is too. So the insurance company will now know that, okay, they are losing a lot of money through death benefit claims followed by surgery, right? Then the rest pale in comparison to those first two, right? So death benefit and then surgery accounts for probably more than half of the 69 million claim amount. So that is how useful this visual is. Now let's look at the claim table again. There is claim status. Let's see what the values we have in the claim status. Click the drop down here. You will see the unique values. We have approved, pending, and then rejected. Okay, so it would make sense for the company to know the number or the percentage of claims that have been approved, those that have been rejected, and then those that are currently pending. Since there are only three values, we would want to make use of a donut chart, but this is subjective. You can also use a pie chart. It would achieve the same objective. So select claim status. Then again, by this time we'll be counting claim ID. Let's expand it a little. Yeah. So the 2,500 claims that have been made, this tells the company the number that has been approved, the number that is pending, and then the one that has been rejected. Again, we'll be back to clean up this visual, but as of now, we'll leave it like this. Now you can see that this visual is very useful, right? It allows you to compare the premium that a company has paid to the claims that their employees have made, right? But you can compare for each particular company. So MTN Ghana, you can see the difference. But how do you know if the claim to premium ratio for MTN is better than, say, GCB Bank? Right? It will be very difficult for a non-technical stakeholder to tell. Maybe for you as a data person, you can look at it and then you can be able to infer which company has a higher claim to premium ratio, but you don't want your users to go through that stress. Okay, and then since it is or stated in the business question that the company is concerned with high claim to premium ratio, exactly, like organizations with high claim to premium ratios. This tells us that will also be a useful addition to our report. So thankfully, we have created a claim to premium ratio measure over here. So we'll just use, let's use bar chart at this time, a column chart this time. Then we can put in claim to premium ratio, and you can put company name. Oh, okay. So this would tell any user of the report that DHL Ghana is the culprit, right? The company is paying approximately 11 times the amount it's receiving from DHL Ghana as premium, as premium. Okay, so this would also be like, yeah, very useful to anybody who consumes the report. Any other visual that we can add to this page? I noticed that the previous time when I asked for questions, people started dropping off. So let me not scare you guys. But yeah, so we are not going to create, we are not going to add any other visual again, not like forever, just for now. The reason being that sometimes when you start the analysis, you may not know everything that you want to add to a report yet. Okay, you don't have to fix it on just that section of the report. What kind of visual should I, what kind of visual should I add? You have some level of KPIs, you have some visuals as well, even though the page is not complete, or even though you feel like, yeah, there's more you can add, but you're not sure what to add yet, you can leave it. You can now go back to designing your report or maybe cleaning up the visuals. While you are doing that, maybe you can get the idea, then you can now come back and then add that visual. So we can leave this space blank. If by the time we are done cleaning up the report, something comes to mind, we'll just add it. If nothing comes to mind, we'll just drag the visual so that they fill up the space. Okay, so as of now, this is okay for claims overview page. It's not the final thing yet, but this is just what we've done like the first time we attempted the claims overview page. Any question? No questions. Okay, so now we have a working report that has some of the insights we want to convey to our users, but you ask yourself that, is this appealing even to you as an analyst? Is this appealing to you? It's not. So then there introduces the next step, which is designing the report and then formatting the visuals that we already have on the page. That would take some time, so we would push that to the next session on Thursday. We will try to like make this more appealing, right? Even yourself, when you look at it, you're like, yeah, I built this. This is a very good report. We'll try to do that on Thursday, but for today's session, this is where we will be ending. So the floor is open for questions. No question. Okay. So we want to make this realistic, right? So you can go online before our next session on Thursday. Just go online, look for insurance companies in Ghana. If there's any that you are associated with or any that you like, you can have that like in the back of your mind for the next session. For me, I have picked colored insurance, right? So I'll be using their color to design they put the report next week. Okay, so I want you to also pick another company, preferably one with a different color, so that when you follow through, you can also adjust the color so the report becomes personalized to you. So make sure that before you come on Thursday, you have an insurance company in mind that you want to modify this report page to suit that company. Maybe their colors, maybe their font sizes, stuff like that. So yeah. If there's no question for me, then over to you, Vanessa and Black.
Okay. Thank you so much. This was quite an insightful session. I hope we we are all okay since there were no questions. I think the next thing that we have to do is fill the feedback form. So kindly click on it in the chat box. It's already here in the chat. So click on it and please, after you finish, just type that so that we know you are done. So kindly fill the form. Some you said they should do something.
Yeah, they should just pick what's the name? An insurance company that they are interested in. Maybe they're affiliated with that company, or maybe they just like the operations, or just the color of that company. And just have it in the back of their mind. When we are designing the report, we would want to use the company colors to like decide on which colors to use for the report.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So that is your assignment. By Wednesday, you should be able to go through it again and do it accordingly. Guys, there are things that we ask you to do. It's not for fun. It's what helps you stand out as a data analyst, as a data scientist, as a data engineer. So please make sure that you do it, you follow through. If you're not following through, then the whole point of you joining is it just doesn't make sense. So please follow through. Find an insurance company and align your dashboard accordingly. But she said this is something that you're very good at. So I'm looking forward to seeing your dashboard on Thursday. Are we good?
Okay. As I said earlier, I didn't follow, so I actually don't have I mean the tables and everything. So if I can be able to get the tables on listen on Excel, I think I can work on that.
Well, you have every resource. There are recordings available for you. There's there's a data set available for you. So you don't really have an excuse like that too much.
Okay, I'll work on that. Thank you very much.
So Thursday, as for you, some Thursday we are starting with measures.
Hey, why?
Oh no, you're just showing us your work. That's all. Nothing. Deep.
You
I just
see,
want
I understand you, but I have to go to. Okay, don't worry, I'll do that.
yes. I want you to make the time to go